Hey everybody, welcome back to The Hunt. We are with Erin Stratford. I'm so excited to spend this time with her. She is not only the VP of Marketing for IAEA Healthcare, the largest staffing healthcare company in the country, but she is a burnout and peak performance expert, guru, speaker, national speaker. So welcome to the show, Erin.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no,
excited to be here.
Thank you. So we have so much to dive into today because this is such a hot topic, especially I think coming through COVID. Even before COVID, and then COVID I think exacerbated it,
Yeah.
right? So let's just hit the ground running with the topic of burnout. And how did you come to the conclusion that you had a message to send to people, knowing that you were also working a full-time job, but still you took it on through your passion and through your own experience to get this message across?
Yeah, so for me, I have always been this really like motivated, ambitious, driven overachiever that's like doing all the things. And I was definitely that person that was like, burnout is something that doesn't happen to me.
Right.
Clearly, it's not going to happen to
Exactly.
me.
Yeah.
This is something that happens to those people, you know? And I honestly thought it was kind of just like this crap excuse that people would give for like why they couldn't do things. And then I swallowed every word I just said and it happened to me and I was like, oh, this is a real thing.
So what happened? Like in that, was there a moment?
Yes. So I work for IAEA Healthcare, which is the largest healthcare staffing company in the
Right.
country. And so obviously we've been pretty busy over the last couple years
Yeah.
during the
I
pandemic.
mean, your trajectory has been off the charts.
Yeah, so we're a hypergrowth company. We grew, $3 billion in like 8 months. We went from having like 5,000 nurses working with us to having almost 50,000 in the span of like
incredible.
months. So it's been insanity. And so staffing that through the pandemic was obviously exhausting, traumatic, scary. We were working around the clock because we really genuinely feel like we may not be frontline workers, but we're getting workers to the front line to
Right.
staff these hospitals and get patients the care they need. So, working 24 hours a day, feel like 7 days a week. I just eventually.
Is that really in reality what
I mean,
felt
it wasn't
like?
24 hours a day, but it was at least like
Yeah.
18 hours a day,
Right,
7
yeah.
days a week. And so it was insanity. And, just doing that every day, it grates on you. But at the same time, I was also trying to get pregnant. And
Oh, my
so
goodness.
I went through 4 failed rounds of IVF. I had a miscarriage. I had my husband's father died at this time. We had to put our 14-year-old dog down. I mean, it was just like all of these
So if
things.
you could go through, all of the things that just cause stress and trauma
Yeah.
on top of working
staffing the
full-time.
pandemic. Yeah, so it was just all the things happening at the same time. And I just reached a point where I just completely burnt out. And I was like, I was just depressed. I was just phoning it in at work. I wasn't doing a good job. I wasn't supporting my team. I wasn't being a good employee. I just was like vacant, completely mentally vacant.
Just exhausted.
Yeah, it was just all the things. And, like I said earlier, like this is not a feeling I'm used to,
Right.
I don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, every one of us that can relate to being type A,
Yeah.
control freaks, right? Like if you want something done, do it
You
yourself.
do it, yeah.
And so I totally get it. So that feeling of did you feel helpless?
Yes, completely helpless. And it felt so foreign to me. It wasn't something I was ever used to. And so I just really started, like anything, I looked at overcoming my burnout as the next thing I was going to achieve. So I was like,
Because I'm type A.
yeah,
and
so
can
I
do
was
that,
like doing
yeah.
meditation and acupuncture and reading every book. And I really started diving into like interviewing other peak performers and high achievers and like figuring out how they got through periods of burnout in their lives.
But to those listening at home, you would think that self-care of acupuncture and meditation would be the right things to do.
I mean, they're a start,
Yeah.
but ultimately you have to retrain your brain. And so this is what I really get into in the book I'm writing and in the keynote, that keynote speeches I do all over the country is about these 5 mindset shifts that can help you sort of change your thinking so that you can start to get out of this burnout cycle. Because you can get all the facials and massages you want, but if you're not actually going to change your thinking or change your behavior at all, you're just going to feel good for an hour and then you go right back into it.
Exactly. I was just having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I said, it's just like the systemic issue, with this person in our mutual lives. And I said, it starts with the 6 inches between your ears. If you don't have that right, then nothing else is going to work.
Yeah.
Right. It's that awareness of, what you're thinking. First, in order to then systemically make the changes that you need to make. Because in America, and I mean, I've traveled all over the world, for work for the last 15 years or so, and it seems like it's a different feeling in the United States in terms of a stigma attached to if you have burnout.
Yeah.
Like, okay, are you just whining? Are you complaining? Or is it really an issue?
Well, one of the things I go into in my talk and my book is that I had been at my company long enough that I was allowed to have 6 weeks full pay leave of absence, but I didn't take it because I was too ashamed. I was like, I'm going to commit career suicide if I take a 6-week leave of absence. Like, what's my boss going to think? What's my team going to think? What are my colleagues going to think? And I'm like, this is what's so messed up.
That's a cool perk. Did everybody have?
I think you have to be there. I mean, don't ask me all the. I think you have to be there, but I've been there for almost 6 years, so I think after a couple years or something.
So like these little sabbaticals was part of the culture.
Yeah.
But yet you still felt
that I couldn't
guilty.
Take it because I'd be committing career suicide.
Yeah.
But that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And so, I just think part of the problem is like people feel like they can't talk about it. They feel ashamed, and it happens.
Or it's not a real. Not sickness, but it's not a real issue.
Yeah.
But it does. It affects you emotionally, mentally, physically.
Yeah.
Right?
It really, and it can start small and then it can just grow and grow and grow over time.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I mean, it can lead to horrific things like heart attacks and cancer and like serious health problems,
Unbelievable. So when you started feeling that way, what was the pivot? Like what made you like change and come out of it?
Well, honestly, my therapist said to me,
and I love that you say my therapist because I think that is so healthy in so many ways. I love it.
I think everybody needs a therapist.
100%.
But my therapist really pointedly asked me one day, she's like, Erin, do you want to accomplish one more thing at work or do you want to have a baby? I was like, a baby? She's like, then start acting like it. I was like, oh my God, okay. But she was right. Like here I was just trying to achieve, but like I couldn't have that one thing that I desperately wanted, and I really had to have a serious conversation with myself of like, it's okay to like pause here in this part of your life every now and then to focus on a different part of your life. Or, you don't have to do all the things all the time. I think we always are trying to do all the things all the time. And it's like, no, you can do this and then that can slow down and this can speed up. And, there's, I don't know. I had to make a stop on the work front a little bit.
And in the reality of all that, though, it's like, do you have to have those one-to-one conversations with all the people in your life, professionally and personally, to say, look, if I don't communicate with you for a minute, it's because of this, or I need to set boundaries?
Yeah, I mean, I just started putting in meetings with myself in my calendar at work, because otherwise I would just have like a million meetings all day. I'm sure you can relate.
Yeah.
You have a million meetings all day, and I'm like, I don't even have time to like go have a quick bite to eat, And so I would just start putting those boundaries in, starting work not at the crack of dawn and taking my dog for a run in the morning and having that time to exercise and spend time with my family and eat and just the simple things.
And you do have to, especially when you work in that environment, you have to carve it out. You have to put it into your calendar and block it. And those are the strategies I think that people really need help with.
Well, and I think it's also up to us as leaders, people that have teams, to set that example for our teams.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise, if we don't ever make time for ourselves, if we don't ever say, oh, I'm having lunch at that time, we're going to have that meeting later, or hey guys, it's 6 o'clock, you're still working, like why don't we log off, If we're not the one setting that example, then they think that they have to keep working around the clock as well. So it's really, we've got to lead by example with our teams.
No, absolutely. I was talking to somebody the other day and said, when the emails and the texts are coming in 7 days a week, you never feel like you get a break, like you always feel like you're on the clock.
Yeah.
And so, there's so many, you can use the functionality of the tools around you, right? So if it's convenient for you to send an email on Saturday, well, delay it to Monday.
Yeah.
Right? So all those little things, but so much to talk to you about. So we're gonna come back in a second with Erin here, but you can find her at erinmstafford.com. And
No, it's actually erinstratford.com.
Erin Stratford. Oh, no M anymore? Okay.
It's
So-
Erin M. Stafford is my social media.
Social media,
Erin
okay.
Stafford is
Perfect.
the URL.
Awesome. And then we're going to talk more about her speaking and her book and everything else coming up. So stay tuned. Don't go away. You're watching The Hunt.